cloudandgeniefusion.com. Thanks very much for joining me today. Today I want to talk about online backup services and cloud storage services, whatever you want to call them. And in particular, one company that I've had personal dealings with over the last 18 months or so. Now, the purpose of this video is really just to let you guys know whether you're currently with this company or in the market and looking for somewhere to back up your data. Just to give you a heads up as to what different types of things that can go wrong and give you the option to make an informative decision as to whether you want to go with these companies, and in particular this one I'm going to talk about. So let's get into the details. Okay, so about 18 months ago I went with a service or a company called Just Cloud. Now Just Cloud are owned by a company called JDI Backup Ltd, and JDI Backup Ltd owned 4 separate companies called Just Cloud, Zip Cloud, My PC Backup and Backup Genie. Now all 4 companies or all 4 services offer the same type of service, okay? But like I say, 18 months ago I went with Just Cloud, and that's the one that I'm talking about here today. When I went with that company, it was $6.99 for an unlimited data backup plan. Now that backup plan included 2 computers and any external devices that you had attached to either one of those 2 computers. Obviously you registered the computers with the company, and you know they knew which computers were registered, but any external devices that were attached to them could also be backed up, and any file could be backed up as well. Now about 3 months into the service they started changing things around a little bit, and they didn't let their users know. What they done was external devices were no longer able to be backed up. But if you had any data that was backed up from external devices, that was still safe. You could still access that and it hadn't gone away. And no longer were they backing up video files, at least not on the package that I had signed up for. If you wanted to back up video files, you now had to pay an annual fee of $9.99 a year. Now that's not that much, but nevertheless, it wasn't part of the thing that I signed up for. And also, if you wanted to back up external devices, that was also an annual fee, and it was something along the lines of £60 per 500 gigabyte external drive. So in other words, if you had a terabyte, you were talking about maybe £70 or £80 per year. So if you had already backed up 3 or 4 external devices and you wanted to continue doing that, you were talking about maybe £200 or £150 a year service fee to back up these devices. Now I wasn't exactly over the moon about this, but nevertheless I continued on with the service because at the end of the day $6.99 for the unlimited data that I had currently backed up wasn't too bad a deal, even with these additional little things. Now I didn't take the external devices, I didn't pay the extra money for that, but what I did do was pay the extra money on an annual basis for the video files, because that was primary reason why I wanted to have this service in the first place, because of my family video clips, things like that. Now, everything was going well into the service, so well in fact that I had written an article about it, put it on Tech Media Fusion. This was about 3 or 4 months into it as well, and I got a call from their marketing department saying, listen, we've had a big influx in traffic coming from the link on your site. You know, you might as well make a little bit of money from this, so why don't you join our affiliate? So I did, and I went with that, and you know, unfortunately over the 18-month period I didn't make any money, but that's by the by. That was more probably my fault than theirs, because I didn't market the product properly. But nevertheless, it was offered to me because of the review that I had written, and obviously because of the traffic that they were getting as a result of that review. So at the beginning of September I got an email from them saying that, by the way, at this point I had just over 1 terabyte worth of data backed up, that they were going to, and this email was from their legal department, so that scared the life out of me initially, but the email said that they were going to terminate my agreement and that I had 30 days to remove any valuable data that I had. Now I really panicked about this. I couldn't understand what it was that I had done wrong, so I sent them an email saying, you know, what is it I've done wrong? It took me about 5 emails to finally get somebody to point me in the right direction. Nobody could tell me specifically what it was I had done wrong, but they pointed me to section 14 of their terms of agreement. And section 14, and this is key to the entire video, section 14 says that if you are using the service for business purposes, then they have the right to terminate your agreement and or offer you an upgrade to the business deal. Now, the business deal is a polar opposite to what I was already paying. $6.99 for an unlimited data plan, as opposed to their business plan, which was £59 a month for a 500 gigabyte plan. I don't really understand how they do that or how they go about working that out, but nevertheless, that's what it is. Now, they don't have to give you reason as to why they think you're running a business or why you are using the home package as a business. Nevertheless, I thought to myself, when I read that, I thought, there's been a big mistake. I don't run a business. I run Tech Media Fusion, but that's a blog. And there's nothing on there that's been backed up that has anything to do with the blog in any case. Everything that's been backed up is video files, family video files, family photographs, that type of thing. I contacted them thinking that I was confident in that there had been a mistake. I contacted them and said, listen, I give you permission to go into my account and look through every single file you have, or that I have on your servers. Look through it all, and there's nothing there business related whatsoever. They never took me up on the deal. They said that regardless of what I was saying, they had still got the right to ask to terminate my agreement, or my only other option, if I wanted to keep the data, was to go to this business plan. Now, I was really annoyed about that, because had I done something wrong and been caught about it, then fine. I'd have held my hands up and walked away, but that wasn't the case. They were accusing me of something that I clearly didn't do, and I was giving them the opportunity to look through my stuff and see that I hadn't done it, and they weren't prepared to do that. Now, the whole situation that has ended up occurring was I had 30 days to remove the data, which was okay because it was only a terabyte and I could do that. I could get that data off. But not everybody's in a situation where they can go out and go and buy external devices that's going to do the 1 terabyte. Not everybody has super fast broadband like I do. Like my father-in-law, for instance, his broadband speeds are much slower than mine. And there's no way he could have downloaded all that data, even in the 30-day period. He just couldn't have done it. And so there's lots of other people like him that couldn't do it. And we use these services. We're told constantly, time and time again, by all these magazines and all these other big websites and stuff like that this is the future. This is how we're supposed to go forward. We're supposed to trust these companies with our data and our backup. Despite the fact that we, as users, we don't have anything, any rights or anywhere that we can go to and protest and say, listen, they've done this wrong. Trading standards, they don't want to know anything about it, because at the end of the day, these are all online. These are all in the cloud. They don't really have the same types of standards that other companies have got to adhere to. But more and more, we're being forced into these type of situations as well. A lot of the media that we download now, whether it's music or videos, they're all on cloud servers that we don't physically have to hold and back and take away from these companies and say, this is mine, this is ours. And so that's a problem, especially in the sense when we're told constantly that this is the future. This is the future now. We don't need to have all these external hard drives, all these big things on our desk anymore. Other people, other companies, we're supposed to trust other companies with this data, and not only just trust them with the data, but just trust them that they're going to be honest about looking after them and not try and shaft us. Because at the end of the day, and I wrote an email and I said this to this company, I think that section 14 gives them a get out clause that if they're not reaping in enough money from you, that they can push you into a bigger package where you're going to pay more money and they're going to make more money from it. Now, they didn't reply to that. That's really all I wanted to say. I wanted to just let you guys know that, so that you've got an informed decision to make as to whether you go with this company, whether if you're currently with them, that you pull your data out of it, or whatever you want to do. I'm not telling you what to do with your data or what to do with anything. You go ahead and make a decision based on what I've told you, and based on other different reviews that are out there, and in particular reviews about this company. It's a horrible situation to be in, and it was a horrible situation for me to be accused of such a thing and not really have anywhere that I could go to prove my innocence and to therefore keep the service that I was using. But that's just the way of it, and you don't have a leg to stand on, and I just think that that's unfair. Anyway, guys, thanks very much for watching this video. I would love to hear from any of you guys as to whether you have had similar dealings with companies like this, whether you've lost data or anything like that. I would love to hear some of your stories. So leave them down in the comments, or email me, whatever you want to do. And don't forget, guys, if you go across to Facebook, Tech Media Fusion on my Facebook page, have a look over there as well. Give a thumbs up if you like this video. And you can follow me on Twitter as well, and Google+. There's lots of other social networking sites, but they're the 3 main ones that you can follow me on. So thanks very much, guys. I look forward to hearing some of your stories about some of either your nightmares with online cloud storage services, or maybe you've had some fantastic experiences. I'd love to hear about some of those as well. All the best, guys. Look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye.